All right, all right. Yeah, there was a good friend of mine, Cop 350ZX. He was already here, and he was like, "Oh man, 22 more minutes. I gotta wait." And I got another buddy, Rambo Rob. He's waiting. So soon.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
told all the guys, that I was going to be on here as a guest, so hopefully they'll tune in too.
Oh yeah. Hopefully, we have a real good show. It usually always turns into a good show because we usually talk about prevalent stuff that really, for even First Amendment or Second Amendment or people that, are dealing with cops and don't know that they can record them.
Right.
That's what this, it's all about getting that knowledge out there for everybody. But we got,
Education, man.
just like that, 13 people in here. Some of the chat hasn't all started yet. But I'm going to go ahead. What's up, everybody? Soliaka here, and I'm going to give it over to GA right now. GA, the Gladiauditor. Auditor. I don't know how do you say
Very,
that?
very good. It's a tough one. I know a lot of people have been having tough time with it, but GA is suffice to be honest with you, and I want to say thank you, Solo Yacker, for having me on.
Yeah, no
Um,
worries.
if anybody was wondering, GA stands for government accountability. I think if you type in government accountability on YouTube now, and the first thing that comes up. So
Yeah,
if you're looking for me, you can just type in government accountability. You don't have to remember GA the Gladiauditor. But
yeah, and his channel link is in the description below in the description. So if you need to get to that channel, it's already down there for you. I say get on his channel. He's gone out and he audits. I believe you're out in the what areas do you go?
I'm in Polk County, Florida. That's where I reside. But I've been out with like Rogue Nation, Rights Crispy, News Now South Florida, Lee Watch, and because I don't have a vehicle, I'm a pedestrian and a bicyclist at best. So to get way out there, it's usually because somebody got me there. So,
Yeah, nice,
but yeah, Polk County, Winter Haven. That's where I do most of my work at.
nice. Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm trying to work on this. For some reason, I'm not getting any chat, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm working on it. I don't know what's going on. It did this one other time, and I don't know why.
What's up? What's up? Technical difficulties. Just
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
oh,
All right, all right. Now we got it. Now we got it. I got it all right here.
there you
So we're
go.
gonna start at the top just to let everybody know. We got Seth Wolf. He's hanging out. We're all hanging out. We're gonna have a nice little 1A, 2A, First Amendment, Second Amendment talk today. If you have any questions about First Amendment talk or Second Amendment talk, put it in there. I am gonna try to get through most of the comments. Sometimes we just get rambling, and the next thing you know, we've got a list of, and it happens. But we've got Stony Mink here. We've got CB. What's up, brother? Rambo Rob.
What's
He's
up,
saying what's
me?
up.
What's up, TB? What's up, Rambo Rob? What's up, all y'all?
Yeah. Angel Figueroa. He's here. Richard Hutchinson. We got Dina. What's up, Dina?
Dina
Dina Marie. She's an awesome lady, and I believe she does some First Amendment stuff too. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Um, let's see who else we got in here. Um, we got Robert Ray. We've got Prime Time
Rob.
just chilling.
What's
Stony Mink says, "What's up, GA?"
going on, Stony Mink? Stony Mink's a super fan. I love that guy.
Yeah, awesome. And same thing for everybody here. Get onto his channel, subscribe to it, do all that good stuff. Watch his First Amendment audits. He's starting to come up. I think you're at like 3,500 ish, somewhere around there now, or
Now
getting there.
me, I'm at like 22, almost 2,300.
All right.
It's it'll get there when it gets there. It's not gonna stop me from doing what I'm doing, and I enjoy doing what I'm doing. I'm actually been on a hiatus because I have a lot of footage that I haven't edited and posted yet.
Yeah.
So But I actually went to my post office here a couple days ago, and they said nothing to me, so they still get it there. But there's a lot of loose ends that I'm trying to tie up here too, because this whole thing is a learning experience. So I'm still trying to get better myself. I don't think I'm at my full potential yet, nor do I don't. I never want to feel like I'm at my full potential. I want to feel like there's always something to be learned.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell them a little bit about yourself, what you do on your channel. I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, I'm still here. I'm still right behind you. Just this is all you. So everybody, like I said, check this guy out. He's gonna tell you all about himself and tell him about your best experience and your worst experience.
Okay. So like the man said, I'm GA. My name's Corey, by the way. Yeah, I started doing this back in February. Um, I hadn't really had issues with law enforcement in my area per se personally, but I knew that there was all kinds of crazy stuff happening around the country, and I've heard about it locally from other people. Um, and I just got real interested in learning the system and trying to get out there and find out information for myself rather than waiting on the news to give me their version of it, or the sheriff to give me his version of it. Because where I live, the sheriff likes to get on these press conferences and um, just like tear people apart and make them look bad for alleged crimes, whether before there's any evidence or any of that put together. So um, the very first video I shot, just went and renewed my license and filmed it while it was in there, and that experience was whatever. But really, what got me going was the first time I went to the police department. The record supervisor, when I went in there and filmed my records request, covered her face with a piece of paper. And had she not done that, I probably would have got bored with it and not went out again. But that kind of told me that there's more I need to look into. And ever since then, I've just been doing records requests and filming traffic stops, meeting up with other auditors and going out there and learning, how they conduct themselves on their audits, and seeing the similarities and differences. And but like I said, it's all a learning experience. Now, unfortunately, I have a case going, and I get to learn the whole other side of it. My best experience, um, there's a lot of I I think my best experience in total is just me meeting like Rogue Nation, Rice Krispie, News Now South Florida, all the people, like-minded people that I'm meeting and getting to bounce my ideas off of, and um, go through this whole experience with. That's been my best experience. My worst experience so far would probably be my arrest, just because it wasn't supposed to happen, and it did. And now I gotta go through the motions and all that stuff to tell them on the other side. But that's pretty much what's been going on in a nutshell, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. And same thing with me. I mean, when your civil liberties get violated, those are some serious issues, and that's what I have issues with. I don't
Yeah,
mind officers that whether they're knowledgeable or not, that treat me like a human. Because once again, in my world, I'm carrying guns, so they usually show up with guns, and it's a fine line that I have to kind of tread through those motions.
of
So.
course, of course. Not to, or well, when you were talking about 1A stuff and 2A stuff, and what you just touched on is another good point, man. These are all our civil rights, and it doesn't matter which one they're trying to violate. They should all have meaning to us. Like I was just reading, you know, Article 1, Section 8, which is our, right to bear arms, in our state constitution. But then
Yep.
I kept reading down into the due process and all that other kind of stuff. But all that stuff is important to know. And you know, it's funny. One of the first times I went into City Hall in my city, I asked a mail carrier and a staff assistant, she's like a receptionist up there, if they knew the 5 things that the First Amendment protects. And beyond speech, and I had to help them out with that one, nobody could answer any of it. But these are people that sign a document saying that they're going to, you know, support or defend in some cases that
Yeah.
Constitution, and they don't even know what it says. So,
No. And even for like I've been to a town hall meeting, and I was specifically extremely frustrated with the people there, because they were violating their oath. They actually took an oath that said they were going to speak, you know, they swear to uphold and defend the Constitution, and they're sitting there reaching out to politicians trying to change and add more gun control laws. And I'm like, well, you guys are violating this oath. You know, like, I don't believe in that. I don't want I People have their rights, and that's what we're given. And if people don't like it, I feel, you know, I don't feel bad. It's just, you know, deal with it. You have to deal with it.
yeah, yeah. That's the scariest thing. I mean, even it doesn't even take law enforcement for people to try to violate your rights. You know what I mean? It's, you know, sometimes when we go on these audits, government employees trying to do it. Just in my daily life, I get people that try to violate my rights. So, um, oh, I wore the No Signal Zero shirt today. This
Nice.
is this is a shirt that I made for you know, going on these audits and stuff like that, as just a, hey, I'm not carrying any weapons and that kind of stuff, so law enforcement doesn't have to freak out.
Yeah, no, like we were. It was me, Rambo, Rob, and a couple other people. One other guy, Memory Decipher, and we were in Melbourne. And you know, first guy pulled up and didn't hear anything, and then all of a sudden, all the sirens started coming. I'm like, oh man! I'm like, seriously? And then, you know, next thing you know, we're surrounded by like 7 officers, 6, 7 officers. And we're like, hey, look, guys, we're going fishing right there. Hey, like, you know, they're trying to take our firearms, and we're like, no, 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 no.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's the
crazy.
worst part, is when they want to take your firearms, and for nothing, for doing nothing.
You know, I had a concealed weapons permit at one point in time, and it's it really like bugs me out that you know, you go through all the trouble to get that permission slip, and then they're still, you know, trying to violate on top of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of gun laws that, I mean, they're so specific, and they can get you in real big trouble really, really quick. You know, and
Well,
same thing with First Amendment. You know, like, there's places that you can't go, there's things that you can't do inside a building. You know, like, you know, obviously restricted areas and things of that nature. But you know, those are the things that I don't even know. I've been out with Rogue Nation. I went out with James Madison audits once, and it was really, it was interesting to see the other half of it.
yeah.
So
Yeah, actually, you know, these all these channels, man, are just, and it's really getting hard now because there's like so much content out there now that trying to keep up with every single video that comes out, you know, when it comes out, it may take me, like, I'll watch it, but it's going to be down the road because I'm trying to catch up. But it's all about education, man. Like you said earlier, getting that knowledge out there and um, desensitizing people from, you know, every time they see a gun thinking that it's somebody going to do something nefarious. That's not always the case. You know what I mean?
no.
What did you think about that that Lake County article that I sent you the other
Yeah,
day?
yeah. No, and if nobody here knows, Lake County just became the first sanctuary Second Amendment county. And then right after, I think there was another article that, or I received something, and there's a couple more counties that are following suit. So
Yeah.
if it's true, you know, and once again, that would be more of an audit for me, is to actually go out there and, you know, make sure that it's already a law right now. So obviously they're not going to try to infringe on that. It's just going to be more the reaction I get from them.
Right.
But I'm not going out for the reaction, but to hear that they're a sanctuary city makes it seem like hopefully they get a call and they're like, oh, he's got a fishing pole and he's fishing.
And
they're
they
like,
just leave it
oh
alone.
yeah. They're
Right.
like, yeah, he's fine. Call back if he's trying to hurt somebody.
That's going to be a high point for the second A community is when they start doing like they're doing on some of these First Amendment audits where they just educate the people on the phone and let them know it's okay, and they don't even have to respond or waste the resources about it. But
Right.
firearms are such a touchy subject, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And there was a point where I even heard about they were trying. I don't know if it stemmed from Ian McGuire. You remember Ian? You know who Ian McGuire is?
Yeah.
I heard they were there. Somebody was trying to create some kind of law that restricted auditors from being able to record their public officials.
It was an ordinance in Charlotte County. Charlotte County, I guess it started with the city of Punta Gorda, and then Charlotte County took it on and made it the same thing, which is basically saying that you can't record in any of their public buildings unless there's like a public meeting going on. And that's part of the reason that we went out there to the first time was to challenge that stuff. And we got some trespass warnings issued and stuff like that all because of it. But yeah, it's crazy when they can detain you because you're filming in a building. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. No. No, that's not. And once again, there's all types of federal laws that or court cases that have already said, hey, this is completely legal, and they've all stemmed from the beginning. And every time it's always like an update. I think one of them was from almost like 1990. I think that was one of the most recent, or 1987 or something. It was sometime around where the cell phones started having cameras and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so yeah, the signal zero thing, well, I mean, that I was asking you earlier if you had understood what that meant or whatever, but signal zero in most counties in Florida means armed and or use caution. And I've been hearing a lot of business about them like flagging CAD screens and stuff like that for people. I mean, I guess if somebody made a call and mentioned that somebody had weapons, then that would be an okay cause to flag a screen. But that makes me wonder if they flag legal gun owners or how. You heard about all this gun pawn list stuff.
Oh yeah, that's out in Charlotte County too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
I
I guess,
gotta repost that video. He sent me that video, and I'm supposed to repost it. And you go if you pawned a gun or bought a gun, you're on a list, and that's not how that is. None of that's supposed to go. So
yeah. Well, they have that, and then they have like the the 3-day law when you buy a firearm, you gotta wait 3 full days, excluding
yeah,
holidays and all that stuff. Well, some people are getting being made to wait a lot longer,
oh
which
yeah,
is
months.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah,
So, but yeah, that's another thing that I want to start trying to do in my county too is see if they are accessing that kind of information, and because I think Charlotte County Cop Watch figured out that it was more than just Charlotte County that was accessing that info.
yeah.
So I always try to get people interested in just if they don't want to go out and film and all that stuff. Although I think it's smarter to film when you're going in these places just for your protection because you never know what can happen. Make these records requests. Find out. The first things that I requested when I went out was the general orders for the local police department, and I did the same for the sheriff's office because I want to know their policies and procedures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a good one to get a hold of. And one interesting part to read in there is the resistance and control portion of it, where they start talking about different types of resistance and how they can overcome that. It's really crazy stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's like at what point do we go from being just a citizen to a subject?
Right.
Sometimes it's just a phone call that somebody makes, not knowing anything about what's going on. So
Yeah, and that's one thing I've noticed about First Amendment audits a lot, is that there's a suspicious person, as they so call it, and it's just like, everybody's tripped out about a video camera, but you're like, there's 10 of them right in here. It's like, why
yeah,
aren't you tripping out? Because those are,
it didn't take long for me to figure out that cameras equal signal 13, and signal 13 is suspicious. So it's either that or they would always roll out a like say we're causing a disturbance, which is the signal 22. But it's all those signals and stuff are different in different areas. But I think the signal 0 is quite a bit of counties in Florida that use that.
yeah, I think it goes all the way around the state. So,
Yeah. Hey,
all
not
right.
to change the subject here, but I have been binge watching Jordan Cahill for like since last night. Have you heard anything about this? I actually found out about her from Poor Dirt Farmer, a video he put in. It's at Marion County, uh, Lowell Corrections Facility or whatever. She was locked up there for like 8 years, 8.5 years, and
Yeah.
she's exposing like a lot of the abuse that went on in there. So if you guys have a chance, go check that channel out. It's former inmate Jordan Cahill. It's JordynCahill. Go give her some support and listen to what she has to say, because it's crazy stuff she's putting out there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I have to check that out too, man. Yeah, every now and again, like, and that's one thing I would say about the 2A community right now compared to the 1As. They're all over the place. I mean, there like you said, there are a lot of them. The Second Amendment auditors, the ones I used to watch, they haven't been putting out too much content or too much anything. So it's really kind of different to be, especially here in Florida. There's not a lot. There are people that do this. It's not just me. It's just I seem to be putting out more I just put out more videos because I try to do this,
You're
as much as
probably
I can.
the most consistent Second Amendment auditor that I've that as far as content being put out. OKC, I think,
Yeah,
is
he does.
pretty fairly regularly, but
Yeah, but
yeah,
they're in a whole different world, man. Like right now they just got constitutional carry. So for the police interactions, and I hear they still get them, but they go a little bit better. And it's usually just because people are scared of a gun. They call the police show up. They're like, oh, he's lawfully carrying, and everything goes well. But yeah, I mean, he's ran into problems even before that. And I've seen his videos. I want to say there's another one up in Tennessee every now and again. I mean, there's people that still do it. I remember Mark Guardian. He was probably one of the most consistent people that was up in, I think, Oregon. And then I saw a bunch of guys up in Michigan. And once again, these are all open carry states, but a
right,
lot of those guys were walking straight through the hood, carrying AR-15s. And I think that's why the police interactions happen, which I think is both, a bunch of bullshit. But
right.
but it was educating the people in those places that, hey, as long as you can own a firearm, you can do the same thing we're doing right now. And that's what the education part I wish I could do, is just, hey, let's desensitize guns. Let's just go for a 3-mile walk, stay away from schools, and everything should be fine.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, where I live, they got a chain of lakes and stuff, so there's a lot of fishing around here. But the only thing that makes me worry, and why if you ever came out this way, I would want there to be other people here to back you up, is there's no dash cam, no body cam, no nothing.
That is
So
like the
I wouldn't
crazy
trust
thing.
I wouldn't trust myself or anybody else going out by themselves in a situation like that, because the affidavit's just going to say whatever they want it to say.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's, and I like down in Melbourne, the guy that said he was going to shoot me. Um, he was like, oh, he starts tapping on my camera, trying to kind of almost trying to turn it off. He's like, oh, you're doing this for a point. I'm like, nah, I do this because I've been other places and nobody has no cameras. And then it's going to be my word against your word. And I'm the one carrying the rifle, walking around trying to go fishing. You know, then I got to go. The one thing I try to always avoid is going to jail, because I'm either going to go jail for a felony or I'm going to go to jail for a pretty high misdemeanor. And the only one that's going to give me my firearms back is the misdemeanor. So, and I don't want to, nobody wants to go to jail. And that's why, like, when Rogue Nation and those guys went to jail, man, I was sitting here watching the baby flipping. My brains were going like, dude, I was flipping, dude. I'm on the phone with them while I'm like, dude, I'm watching the video right now. I'm like, I'm telling you, these guys are about to violate his First Amendment right and a bunch of other rights. And I'm like, I'm trying to help you stop this. And
yeah, like, I think they had a few people that were trying to get them to come to their senses, and they're always going to do what they want to do, man. And you know what I mean? That's the thing. Even if you're 100% in the right and they find some way to get you in cuffs and get you in jail, they're going to do it and then let you figure it out on the back end, you know?
Yeah. And that's what I don't like, is I don't want to figure out on the back end, you know, like litigation, civil litigations take a long, long time. And I mean, I'm going through one right now and I haven't even seen the light of day of a courtroom. So, you know, and that one, hopefully, they say usually about 2 years is when things kind of start falling into place and start moving a little quicker. But the first 2 years, it's a long process, or at least mine are.
But they need to get rid of this whole like double standard system where when people with the government are guilty of misconduct, then they have all this, like getting paid administrative leave, and in us it's just jail, and then you got to figure it all out from there. Yeah.
And I that's what I would tell anybody too. Everybody, I think a lot of people agree, is that accountability is crucial. If there's no accountability, like let's just turn the page and I was the one pointing guns at somebody. I would be going to jail with a bunch of felonies, you know?
Well, here's the thing that kills me too is, some of the stuff you see in these videos where these like officers are just drawing down on people for nothing. Like that's criminal acts right there. Like anybody else on the street doing that would be considered a criminal, but because the badge, it's just like looked at as okay. But they shouldn't just be able to draw down on anybody because they put their hand in their pocket. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I do get some of it, but there's two. It's like they have like this so much aggression built up, like they're ready to go to do something, and I don't get that at all. I've never understood that.
I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of them that are like seriously looking for some action. You know what I mean? Right. It's sad to say, but you got to think of all the different reasons people take on a job. You know what I mean? There's got to be, and it's probably a pretty good number of them that are just there to get a paycheck and make sure they go home and see their family at the end of the night, just like the rest of us. But it takes a special person to be a police officer, and we only need those special people to be in that position. We don't need Joe Schmo that just, could pass all the tests and make the background check and he has the job. We want those heroes. We want to be able to call them heroes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in order for that to happen, they don't need to be making an intervention in everybody's life whenever they see fit.
No doubt. I agree with you 100% on that, man. Because once again, when I first started, when the whatever happened, the thing that happened in Miami, I had respect for him because I was trying to be respectful, because I'm carrying a firearm. So it was always like I had been to like 5 or 6 open carry gatherings and nothing happened. Like police walked up to us and was like, "Oh, catching anything? Have a good day." And so I had this. I was starting to get comfortable, thinking that's how it was going to go every time, and
Right.
and ever like that was like where I lost a lot of respect. And then it's happened a few other times. I mean, I've got hundreds of videos and probably maybe 8 or 10 interactions, and only five of them are bad. Five, five about. But
Well,
I've
that was a good point that Rogue Nation always made, which is like, he can go to a place and revisit a place and them give him no problem, but that doesn't mean that some other citizen goes in there and records that they're not going to try to intimidate him or try to violate his rights. You know what I mean? And another example is, I had a really good talk with an officer outside of a convenience store here in town, and I come to find out, just the other day, I met somebody that had an interaction with that same officer, and he threatened to tase her for not, you know, wanting to get out of her car so he could run his dog around it. So it you never know what you're going to get when you go out there, man. It's just each
yeah,
time is yeah, you never know what to expect,
yeah, you definitely roll the dice. It's
Mhm.
and I even there was one instance. We when I was with Rogue Nation, we met an officer, and I mean he was just like, oh, we can arrest you for that they were trying to pull the wiretapping thing and something and other, and he was like, oh, I'm going to
I
give
remember
you a felony. James Madison, he walks away from it. But then a couple days later, I get a message from a buddy, and he actually got put in cuffs because they were recording him. And he's tried to say the same thing. So sometimes these officers just they really don't care. They're gonna do what they want. And I always say when the good ones show their face, I always say thank you. It's like, all right, thank you. I'm like, you did exactly everything you were supposed to do.
Yeah, we love finding unicorns, man.
Yeah,
I personally don't have anything against, um, like I understand, I think that cops are necessary. I just have always thought that they are focused on all the wrong stuff. They're focused on generating revenue for the state, not out here protecting the public like they should be. They're protecting themselves and their buddies, and that's it. You know,
yeah, yeah.
but I understand, the importance of having law enforcement for a free society and all that kind of stuff. You know, I just I would like to see more unicorns and less, hard-ons.
Yeah, yeah, that for sure, man. Because that's the one thing that really just gets to me sometimes. But
Yeah.
hey, just stay right here, man. I'm trying to catch up, and for some
Yeah,
reason, I'm
we have
almost like
paid no attention to any of these
I
comments,
know.
so I
I'm
apologize.
trying to. I just realized it. Hold on. I'll be right back. I'm refreshing this because it's behind. It's lagging. I hate that.
Yo, 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 yo. See Steve and Jenny and Lee Watch, Ziggy Wiener, Alan Mitchell, Chris Harris, Stephen Mazur, FLE Roleplay Official.
All right, man. I'm back. Yeah, friggin'. I just saw they're having issues. I'm caught up now, but it says that they're looking into whatever problems are going on. But we're gonna go. I'm gonna catch up with you guys. Hold on, we're going through this. Let's see. Lee Watch says solo. I'd be up for walking through Winter Haven with a gun, pole, and a camera. And I'm really trying to like. I like going around the state, like because that way it doesn't look like I'm just like focused on one place. So
Yeah, I try not to. It's hard for me because, like I said, my transportation situation. But I would really love to not have to do all my auditing in my own town.
yeah. Wright's Krispies is somewhere in here. He's saying, "What's up, fellas?" So what's up, Wright's Krispies? And if you
What's
guys
up,
haven't
right?
checked his channel out, get onto his channel too.
Yeah. Hey, something else I wanted to say too. When you guys out there find somebody that you like watching on YouTube, here's a challenge to you. Go back and watch their old stuff, man. You get to see like growth in this whole experience that they have. I love doing that. That's something I still love to do is go back and watch people's first videos and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of shows you a progression of how they've started, how they've, and I like if you watch my Miami one and then watch anything else, I'm two different. I'm them two different people. Like
Right.
I've learned a lot quicker.
I think it was like 2012 was when you started on YouTube, right?
Yeah, roughly. It was a lot of fishing and just nonsense videos.
Yeah,
Or it
dude, I
wasn't
was watching
nonsense.
your like actual kayak fishing one where you had the mahi mahi on there and then it
Oh
got away
yeah,
from
oh
you.
yeah. Dude, that was what the thing you don't see is that there's a 30 or 40 foot contender in front of me, and he's watching me fight this thing in a kayak, and I'm like 4.5 miles offshore in a kayak, and this guy's just like, and I had like a good probably 12, 15 pound mahi, and
Yeah.
and that's when I
It's
like I started trying to
hard.
I ended up getting another camera, and then I flipped the kayak and ended up losing. I lost a GoPro 4, and I still have a
Ooh.
GoPro 3 that I still have. But I've lost too much gear in kayaks. So, but it's all right, you know. It is what it is.
It looks really hard to reel those things in from a kayak though, especially a big ass fish. Like that.
Oh yeah, I've caught in cobia. I've had the biggest fish I ever had next to the boat was probably about a 9 foot, 10 foot nurse shark,
Wow.
and and that thing dwarfed my kayak. My kayak was 14 foot, but I mean, just the girth on it was just like, and I'm bringing it up. I'm like, all right, cut the line, have fun, see you later. 'Cause
What else you gonna do?
I do not want to flip out there in the ocean, man. Too many big things with teeth out there.
Hey, yeah, I remember going canoeing with some friends one time, and you know, this there was like three guys and like three or four girls, and they all the guys ended up in a canoe, all the girls ended up in a canoe, but of course I'm in the canoe with the two drunk guys talking crap about don't flip your canoe, and then what the hell happens? These two guys flip the canoe. And I'm in the middle of it, so I think I lost some stuff that day for sure. That was the day that I lost my concealed weapons permit, the actual card, and I had to
Uh,
go get it
yeah,
for
yeah,
the rest of the time.
yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy like that.
Yep, fun times though.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's always a learning process.
Right.
I just learned to clamp everything down a lot tighter. Just make sure it's all secure.
Yeah, I don't know how you had like that whole rig with the bucket and the fishing poles on top of the kayak and you in it, and then I started thinking like, how long does it take before you get uncomfortable sitting in that thing?
Yeah, no. For the most part, it was all strapped down with tie downs, and you just don't see the tie downs. So the thing's like solid on there. That bucket doesn't come off, or that little crate doesn't come off. But if it ever flips, anything that's in it
Oh
comes
yeah,
out, and that's why I don't want to flip. So
yeah. I have to figure out a way to strap that stuff in to where it'll hold somehow. But still trying to flip the kayak with all the stuff stuck in there would probably be
Uh,
difficult.
it's not easy.
You just don't flip. That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do. Just don't. That's the hard part. I mean, I've got there's one video and I edited it all out, but I was actually I forgot I was concealing. I was in my kayak with my wife, and I'm paddling, and next thing you know, I hook into a tree, current's ripping, and next thing you know, I flip the kayak. I only had the fishing pole and some gear, but I flipped the kayak, and I'm like chest deep in water, got a gun on me. I'm like, oh man, now I got to break down, clean everything. I'm like, that's why it's like, I usually don't care anything once I get on the water, but that's why it's important not to flip, man. Getting wet sucks.
Yeah, yeah, that part.
Let's see. Cop 350 ZX. He said in Leon County Sheriff's Office drew down on Kevin in Ocala for open carry fishing. And this was another guy. Like I said, I went to a gathering with him that had over like it was 150 or so people, and we had no issues. The cops, they were there, no issues. He went back with him and a buddy, and they were forced to the ground, guns drawn on them, and it didn't make sense because it was at the same park, and that was just a crazy instance.
You said there was a bunch of people the first time you went, and only a couple of them the next time.
Yeah, it was. They usually do it, I think, in May, and it's pretty big. The first one that they had 250. The second one was about 150. They're having it again this year, and it always usually draws at least 150, 200 plus people. And
but they're talking about this guy Kevin got drew down on with just him and a buddy went out.
Yeah, it was just him and a buddy at the same park.
Wow, they probably were on some intimidation shit, man.
Yeah. And then that's what I say. Like I go to Fort Pierce a lot, and I don't have issues. I went there for a gathering during Memorial Day, which is tomorrow, and I have plans on going out tomorrow. I want to, or Veterans Day. I'm sorry, not Memorial, Veterans Day. And I really do appreciate any veteran and anybody. Like without them, we don't have our rights. They've some of them put up the ultimate sacrifice. So,
hey, what do you think about this? Well, they do a lot of stuff for Veterans Day, in the way of like food and beverage restaurants and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I know of one that's doing the same thing for first responders on Veterans Day that they're doing for veterans, but not all first responders are veterans.
no. Our first responders, the ones I give a lot of respect for are really the fire department. They do a lot, but they're not. I mean, it's not saying they're not veterans, but they do put in work. Veterans are veterans, man. They're you put in the five. It's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard. Those are our armed forces, and those are. I'm not saying police or whatever. They're not. I'm not saying they're not veterans, but they're not that type of veteran. It's something different.
Well, yeah, but the police aren't part of the armed forces anyway, right?
No.
So, and here's another thing I've learned through doing this, because I meet a lot of people too, and I hear a lot of stories too, is that there are a lot of corrupt first responders in way of fire departments and EMS and stuff like that too. So, there's bad apples everywhere. Like I said about the police, we just need the right people doing the right things, because you don't want people that are letting people die when they're supposed to be reviving them continue to go into houses and attempt to save people. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's happening out there.
Yeah, for sure. I want to give a huge shout out to CB. He threw me a 10 spot, and Mr. Chris Harris. Both of these guys are friggin' amazing. Everybody hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that like button. And especially you guys, Chris Harris. Yeah, for some reason, I do like going to the ports, because if there's any kind of fishing area near the port, it's always a nice, beautiful area. So Miami is on my radar. I'm trying to get down there before the end of the year. So I'll let you know when that is coming because that one I don't want to be alone for. I don't. Miami's just a little sketchy for me by
Before
myself.
before I forget to, I got a chance to say it to you before we actually went live, but I just want to say thank you to you, Soliaker, for having me on as a
Yes.
guest. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No
It's
worries,
been
man.
great talking with you and getting to know you and stuff like that. And hopefully, we'll get the chance to talk some more in the future.
Yeah. Like I said, man, we're gonna. You're in an area where there's a sanctuary. So and like you said, I would like to definitely have some extra people, at least somebody around. I mean, you don't have to be part of it, but at least to keep them on check, saying, "Hey, there are people here videotaping." I can do
Right.
so much, but once they tell me to put my hands up, I can't do anything.
And yeah, and well, that's what you got the GoPro as a body cam for. I know that's true, but
Yeah,
if they go to taking that stuff off you, then yeah,
man.
back
Yeah,
up for sure.
yeah. I've got a microphone that's on the way, and I'm gonna start carrying just a dead like one old phone. Hit the record button, stick it in my pocket, clip it on, because there's yeah. As long as I have that and I can record, I can always keep them on check. But like I said, once they say put hands up, if my camera's not rolling, there's no reaching down to touch it, and that's why I try to keep it rolling. But sometimes, like I run in 4K, and I'll tell you, trying to edit those videos takes forever,
Not even
forever.
that too, but I've started doing well. I mean, when I first got my GoPro, I was doing the recording everything thing, and then I figured out really quickly that that's a lot of footage to go through and decide to keep or not to keep. After my arrest, I decided because I didn't record the most crucial part of that interaction, which was when I stopped at the stop sign at the intersection. Um, Now I record it all the time when I'm in public. So
Yeah, and
walking
sometimes you
to
have to.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then I just have to come up with a system for every day going through it, or if nothing happened that day, just automatically ditch it, and then if something happened, then I can do what I need to do with it. But
yeah. Like when I started, like my laptop had I want to say like 500 gigs on it. I filled that up in a year, and then I went to a 2 terabyte, and now I'm on a 4 terabyte, and I've got that almost like three quarters full. But we're talking from 2012 as well. Like I've got most of all the footage and all that stuff. So
yeah, I still need to get a system down for being able to save everything like that too.
yeah.
But
And the one thing I would say about saving stuff, you don't really have to. It's just anything that your lawyers need. It's always best to have it because if you when you do go to court, they're gonna want the real file, not all the other stuff.
right.
But um, hey, for 2 seconds, tell them about some of the laws that pertain to First Amendment auditors, like Smith v's
Oh yeah.
Cummings.
Smith versus Cumming, Glick versus Kniff. You have the First Amendment to the Constitution. In Florida, you have Article 1, Section 4, which is the freedom of press and of speech. Um, Shoot, I might have to grab a reference. I think I already touched on the important ones being Smith versus Cumming and Glick versus Kniff. But I do have a Captain Awesome press card here. Terry v. Ohio. The person stopped is not obligated to answer. Answers may not be compelled, and refusal to answer furnishes no basis for an arrest. Gathering information about government officials in a form that can readily be disseminated. Hey, there she is.
There it is. She's awake. But keep going,
Didn't
bro.
sleep long.
Keep going. Break them down with some knowledge, man.
That was a power nap. Yeah, I'm actually just reading. These are cards that Rogue Nation gave me, on one of the times we went out. But it says First Amendment audit, independent press pass, notice to all government agents. 1. Being suspicious is not a crime. 2. It is okay if others feel uncomfortable with what I'm doing. 3. I am okay with you not understanding what I'm doing. 4. Unless I am suspected of a crime, I will not ID. And that's 901.151, which says that unless they suspect you of just committing a crime, in the process of committing a crime, or about to commit a crime, they have no reason to get your ID.
Yeah.
Traffic violations are included in that too. So any kind of like, municipal ordinance or county ordinance, state statute. I'm assuming federal law too. They could probably do, but they wouldn't probably enforce federal law. First Amendment allows me to record anything I can see from a publicly accessible area. Any removal from public property for recording will be a basis for a civil rights lawsuit. And then it just goes into the Terry v. Ohio, Smith v. Cummings. The First Amendment protects the right to gather information about what public officials do on public property, and specifically a right to record matters of public interest, which is basically everything that we do for First Amendment stuff when we go out. Just being in public with a camera. The audit is to test to see if somebody's going to try to stop you from doing what you're doing, or say you're not allowed. Another important thing that we try to remember, or at least Rights Crispy and I are moving towards trying to verbalize it this way, which is all those, like First Amendment and Article 1, Section 4, those things don't allow us to do it. They prohibit people from stopping us from doing it.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
but for the press,
same thing for Second Amendment. There's all those laws are already put in place, saying, "Hey, this is not a crime until he's done something with that firearm that is a crime."
Correct. Yeah, that's a good point. Even with, well, I guess any of the things that where people are trying to infringe on rights or be contrary to the law, it's that legislation was all put there to keep the government from stopping us doing certain activities.
Yeah, no, our Constitution is to put the government in check, not to keep us in check. Right. Those rights are for us, not. It's not just they have some of those rights, but it's their job to uphold that Constitution, to uphold our rights, not to change our rights. Give me 1 second, bro.
Interested too. I think CourseRA.com. They do some like free, I think.
Are you ready?
College credit and stuff too. So if you go to CourseRA, they have a constitution. And I've been trying to get through it slowly but surely. The very back of this says, I have the right to remain silent. Any attempts to badger, harass, or intimidate me into answering questions could be considered a non-custodial interview and may be civilly liable. Consider this your notice that I request legal counsel before any questions.
Yeah. That's my biggest problem is I don't shut up.
People that think they have that same problem. I always, especially from the beginning, I tried to err on the side of caution. I wish that I had the gift of gab a little more, but yeah, I'm more the silent type until I have something that I feel is worthwhile to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dress?
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's amazing.
I actually have a friend with, it was an old friend from way back in the days. I don't speak to her much anymore, but she has a daughter with the same name.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Cute baby you got there, man. Cute baby.
She's amazing. Oh yeah.
I don't have anything but dogs, so.
It's all right. I've got a couple. I had a couple cats. I really didn't think it's not that I didn't want kids. I just never thought I would have kids. And then yeah. And the day I found out she was pregnant, I was like, oh my God. And then the day I hear her cry was like, I don't show too much emotion that much, and when I do, I mean it was like a floodgate that day, man. It was amazing. And even today, like the things she does is amazing. Like she's sitting up by herself. This is amazing. That's
Hey, I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, but and I think you've mentioned it in videos before. Aren't you a chef?
yeah, by trade. I'm in the hospitality. I've been a server, chef, bartender, front of house manager, back of the house manager, you name it, I've been there. Dishwasher.
I'm I'm right there with you, bud. But like legit, you were making me hungry on that first. Remember I told you I watched your first video.
Yeah,
Some of
yeah,
some of those dishes you had on there, man, look mighty good.
yeah. And that was what I was going through. I like the passions that we have. Like I had a love for firearms, but it didn't really start clicking until like all this activism didn't come until like March of our lives. That's what really spawned me trying to make a difference. Is like if they're willing to try to strip all these people's millions of people's rights and their guns, somebody has to stand up and somebody has to say something. And that's how it all kind of started. And then I found a way to express that right openly amongst the public, and that's what spawned that. And then Miami happened, and I was like, something, I'm not going to stand for any of this.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. I've got about 8 months or something like that under my belt now, and I've had people that tell me I'm gonna piss the wrong person off sometime, and I'm sure you have, especially doing what you're doing. People try to tell you not to do it all the time, or you're gonna end up getting
I'm
yourself hurt.
hurting the 2A community.
Yeah. Oh, that's when they try to hit you with. Wow. Wow. See, something
I
that
believe in this. No, this it usually starts out. I'm a big Second Amendment supporter. I have my own guns, but what you're doing is hurting the cause. And I'm like, all right. Expressing a right is hurting the cause.
that makes no sense to me.
It'd
One
be the
thing.
same principle for somebody to criticize. I mean, for some that that started out a little aggressive, does that hurt your First Amendment? Does that hurt you? No. It just people make their own judgment about the person. It's person to person, and that's why I try to remain calm. That's why you try to remain calm. You don't, you're doing nothing wrong, or at least
Right.
that's what I think. Because I've seen your videos too, and you're very calm.
Well, that's the thing is there's nothing nefarious going on here. So what you can't make it into whatever you want to make it into. It's just and they try to all the time, but um, you know, I've heard different people make different references for different things as far as this goes, and I kind of like Wright's Krispies the way he put it, which is we can't just lay there like when people are trying to violate our rights and strip our rights from us. We can't just lay there and take it, man. We have to put up some kind of a fight, and we're not being violent, and
No,
we're not doing anything of the sort. So, but to just let people run over us and say it's okay is not how it needs to go down. And there are too many sheep out there that just think that we should just stand on the sidelines and let them take care of it. And
you have to
anytime I've had
let me
people,
lick your boots.
yeah, they're not going to be here fast enough. You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah,
anything, if shit hits the fan, they're not going to save us from anything. So it's all a false sense of security. So why are you trading your liberty for it?
yeah. It's like, dude, I can do enough by myself. Usually, like you said, it's going to be after the fact, and you know, I really hope nobody ever tries to break into this house. Ever, because the first shot's not going to be is not going to be pretty.
You
And
seen the video that was going around with the guy that had to shoot the people that broke in his house, and it took like 20-30 minutes for the cops to get there after the fact, and he's still on the phone with them, and they're telling him to
yeah,
make sure he puts the gun. Yeah, it's like that's
like
what you that's your example for you guys protecting and serving us.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, in
There's
town
been
here, they had a like a double armed robbery that happened, and they hit one store, and that person at the first store had called law enforcement, but called and hung up, and they were under the impression that if they called, that they would still show up. And the sheriff tried saying that, yeah, we'll show up, but the call has to go through. But I hear on the scanner all the time, it's like a signal 90, which is a like call and hang up. And I know that they show up to other people's
just
stuff when
like a
they call.
welfare. It's a welfare check type of thing, just to see
Yeah,
something.
like
We call 911. Let's just go see what's up. You know,
yeah,
just to double check.
they could have been there if you know, they could have been at the first store at least to find out what happened. If they were calling and hanging up, I think it was just a cop out that he used. But
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said, everybody, if you really want to see some of my old stuff, just open up my channel and
oh,
scroll all the way down. There's a lot of videos. You got to go back like 3 years almost, but or type in kayak fishing solo yakker, and that should help you narrow it down to some kayak fishing videos.
you know,
And
I believe
then,
there's probably people um, that watch your stuff that probably have no idea like where the yakker part of solo yakker came
yeah,
from.
yeah, they're just like, how did you get your name? I get that one all the time, and I'm like, well, I was like, when I started my channel, I was a kayak fisherman, and I still kayak fish, and it's just I don't do it as much because I got this little angel keeping me busy. But as soon as she gets to about like a year and a half, I got another baby seat that I'm gonna strap to the kayak, and she's gonna go out on these little kayak adventures, and she loves the water. So
Your life just started again, bud. You know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean? You get to
Oh yeah,
relive everything again with her.
oh yeah. I
Be
can't wait.
awesome.
It will be. Yay.
Hey,
But yeah,
hey, I'm
friggin'
gonna give just a
go.
shout out real quick to all these. Like I said, before I started auditing myself, I used to watch, you know, all the guys in California and stuff like that, like everybody else. But I got really fixated on the state, and it started watching guys like you, Rogue Nation, Jeff Gray, Big Nick, John Felix, Ebor Rob, Ian McGuire. I was watching him at one point in time
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Charlotte County Cop Watch, and then like right before I got into the mix, I think Poor Dirt Farmer had his issue at that correctional facility, and I still just want to give a shout out to Rights Crispy, News Now South Florida, Lee Watch. I'm sure I'm probably forgetting some people, but I'm trying to hit them all there. I
Yeah.
much respect to all Florida auditors. I'm proud of what you guys are doing out here, and First and Second Amendment guys. And if I'm sure there'll people will be finding a way to test other amendments too.
So, hopefully not, man. The one that I'm really scared about is that Fourth Amendment, man. I hate when they violate that one.
Oh man, did you see the HR employee that decided to go investigate my first and last name because I made a record request about I requested the officer's personnel file. I walked into the HR office and she asked me for my information, and I gave her an email address and I gave her my first name just to be cordial, and she actually spelled it wrong when she wrote it down. But the first email that she sent me said Mr. and my last name. So I got all curious as to what did this girl do to go and find out all this stuff. So I actually made a record request trying to get all the emails that she sent and received from, you know, when I came in to the end of the day, and all the internet searches from the same time period. And I still haven't heard anything back on that. Last time I did a record request like that, where I was trying to find out all the internal communication the city
Here.
had reference to my name, they tried to tell me it's gonna be like $300 to $400 for them to. Hey, no
No.
drinking.
Yeah, you see that?
Yeah.
I had it on my knee, and she just reached out and tried to grab it. No, babies, you're not allowed to have none of that. You're not old enough. You're not even a year old. You can't start drinking now.
You got 20 plus a month, man.
Yeah, I'm hoping like 20. I hope she never drinks.
Or at least just enough to figure out why she doesn't want to.
What? Yeah, exactly. Like one day, like, yeah, you catch her. She comes home wasted one time. You're like, all right, no problem. Sit
Yeah.
down. I mean, go get a couple bottles of vodka. Keep drinking.
Go ahead and get that one out of there.
Get it out. I'm like, she's like, never drink it again. I'm like, good. Never drink again.
Hasn't everybody had their experience just like that, where they swear that they're never going to drink again and they go out and drink again?
They're out the next night. Yeah. This is how you cure the night before.
I actually don't have a good relationship with alcohol at all, and I very rarely drink. But yeah, it's I don't know. This stuff just doesn't mix well with me.
Hey man, you're better off, dude. I drink beer. I don't really drink like in my younger days. I drank a lot of vodka, a lot of everything, but now I'm like I just drink beer.
Yeah. Now I
I drink,
have drank before, and I have drank a lot before. It's just I don't like being in that realm too much.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. No, I feel you, man. So I drink a couple beers a night, sit around, hold the daughter. You know, make sure that I can. I got to be coherent to make sure I can take care of a baby.
Of course,
You
of course, she's too
know?
cute, man.
She,
Hi.
she, she's gonna be a superstar. Hi, hi, everybody. Hey, hi, YouTube. Yeah, she's gonna be a superstar. I mean, through all this stuff, like no matter what happens with the open carry stuff, whenever if I stop or if anything, like I don't plan stopping. But you know, if one day I decide, hey, you know, I put in my time. I'm ready to just do more vlogs, do more whatever, talk about gun rights and get that message out there. There's gonna be a time when I kind of slow down. Like right now, I'm in the prime of my of it, and I don't see any stopping right now. Especially with a lot what's coming with our political venues and shit, is that they're coming for them, and without people to stand up for them, we will lose them. So that's what most of this is about.
Speaking of the political thing, it's 2020 when you're supposed to be running, right?
Yeah, yeah. I have until March, in March of 2020, to have all my petitions signed. And then, as
Got
long as I get all those signed, from there, there's your baby.
just
And
one.
once I get the petition signs, I'm on the ballot, no matter what. And then it's just about getting the people to know who I am and voting for me. I've got a huge 2A. Anybody that's heard me talk 2A, they're already like, "Oh, you're it." But you know, I gotta open myself up more to just 2A. But I
Bigger
do have
demographic.
other friends.
Got to
Huh?
open the demographic up a little bit, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to do a lot of water or education, prison reform. Prison reform is a big one for me because I see a lot of. I've met probably at least 100 people that are like, yeah, you know, I got caught with da 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 da. I got a felony for having drugs. You know, and I'm not saying that felony wasn't deserved or whatever. I'm just saying that that's a non-violent crime. They should have
Right.
rights back. You know, if you're a violent person, I'm going to be hesitant on giving you your right to your firearms back, you know, but at least start looking at giving them the right to vote back, because that could be a crucial one for them. That politician that wants prison reform, that's going to be the person that is going to appeal to that person that wants their rights back, and that's what I'm about, is trying to give the people back what they deserve. You know, if you're a hardened criminal and all you do is criminal shit, I'm sorry, you're a criminal. I can't help you. But if you want to change your life and make your life better, hey, I'm with the reform.
Well, they should be able to like really be able to tell the difference between a criminal and somebody like I really suspect that that's why they try. You know, I really believe that they're trying to get as many people in the system identified and in the system as they can, and that has a lot to to do with it is the fact that all the rights that you lose and stuff like that in the process. It's crazy, man. If like I did a live one time going through a accomplishment report from different sheriffs or actually detectives. The one that arrested me and then his partner. But if anybody believes that they don't get, you know, uh, accommodations or whatever you want to call it for putting people in jail, they're wrong. Like this is what most of their accomplishment reports consist of: is congratulations on your drug arrest, congratulations on your drug arrest, congratulations on your drug arrest.
Yeah, yeah.
So
The bigger the charge, the bigger the felony, the bigger the prize is. That's what they're looking for. You know, I mean, I've been pulled over, and you know, and they're like, "Oh, you got a gun in the car?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And they're like, "Oh," I'm like, "Hey, my hands are on the steering wheel." I'm like, they're like, "Where is it?" I'm like, "It's directly below me. It's in my appendix area." And then, like, you know, and I had a guy draw a gun on me, and I'm like, he didn't point it at me, but he pulled it out, and I'm like, "Dude, you don't need to do that, man." I'm like, I got a license. I'm good. I'm like, you pulled me over for what? And he's like, "Oh, your tint." And I'm like, "I understand my tint's a little dark. It's my wife's car." I'm like, "It's not my car," you know, and I'm trying to explain that to him, but at the same time, I'm like, and those are the scary things, is that, you know, because I do carry a firearm, it puts these cops on edge. And when they ask, I have to tell them, but I don't tell them until they ask. And it's not my, you know, Florida's not one of those states. Other states, look into your state. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, in Florida, we don't have to tell them directly when they walk up, only when they ask. So,
yeah, that's a good point to make too. We're not giving any legal advice here.
none. I mean, look into your state. I mean, for the most part, most of everything that you have said, you can almost go to almost any state and express your First Amendment rights within the public officials, you know, all that stuff. Some places I hear are a second party thing, but not too many states are even at that point with that. So,
Right.
but yeah, man.
It just kind of angers me every time that I hear about somebody getting drawn down on because they have a firearm on them, but that firearm is legal and they jump through all the hoops that the government wants them to jump through in order to carry it, but yet
Yeah,
cops are still allowed to just pull their firearm out and point it at you. But
yeah.
everybody else is supposed to follow the rule of don't pull it out unless you intend to use it.
And you feel for your life.
You know what else? You know what else is crazy too? You know that you cannot protect your own house from a police officer, even if it was a rogue police officer and he had no business here. If you know that they're law enforcement and they come trying to break in your house, there's not. It's against the law. It's crazy.
Uh, Hell with all that, man.
No.
But yeah, man, friggin', we're pushing a buck 15 hour and 15 minutes. I want to apologize to everybody tonight for. I guess I'm gonna have to go get my Ethernet cables. I've been running off Wi-Fi, and usually it's always good, but for tonight, like right now, the last comment I got was at 8:56 p.m. and we're at 9:13.
I have to like go away from the video to check the chat, but there's like 80 things in the chat.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll have to go back and watch it. But yeah, I apologize to everybody too for not being able to see some of the comments. But
Yeah,
I had a great
normally
time.
this thing's pretty good. Normally, I'm guessing it's just the internet connection right now, and because it said something when I was refreshing it, and I had to come back. I noted it gave me an alert that said, "Hey, the chat is running slow. Looking into this problem." Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, that makes sense because I'm on like a 15-minute lag of comments. So anybody that has said anything, it's not that I'm trying to avoid you guys, but it's on a lag, I guess. So I'll get all that squared away, all that fixed. Oceana says hi to you, and I'm gonna let you wrap this up, man. I'm gonna let you give them one last shout out, tell them who you are, tell them what you're about, and all that good stuff, and where they can find you.
All right. It's me, Corey. Um, I'm GA, the Gladiauditor, on YouTube. If you type in government accountability, I should be the first thing that pops up. Please go sub my channel. I have other channels that are kind of linked on some of my subs on my channel. Go check them out too. I want to thank Solo Yacker for having me in here. It's been a great time, man. I hope we get to do it again.
Oh, we
I hope
will.
we actually get to meet up sometime and go express our rights together, man. That would be awesome.
Yeah, man, we'll go out there, and like I said, man, friggin' when First Amendment meets Second Amendment, it's always a good show for me. And even with James Madison, I've got the chance to go out with him in First Amendment and Second Amendment with him. So it's always new whenever you get to express rights, because there's not a lot of other than your first two, there's not a lot of expression you can do openly like we do. The only things that we can do after the first couple are just help defend our lives and defend our freedoms. So without your first couple amendments, nothing else matters. You have no way to let people know how you feel, and you have no way to defend yourself from tyrannical government. So
they're the first two on the books for a reason, people.
yeah,
Remember that.
first two. They didn't put all the others. They put those two right there because they were the most important. So, like I said, I am truly sorry about if there is all the lag and all the garbage that happened tonight. I will, like I said, I've got his channel link in the description below. Check his channel out, sub to it, tell him Solo Yacker sent you. And like I said, we're gonna do this almost every Sunday, and we're gonna have a great either First Amendment, Second Amendment talk. We'll talk about what's going on in our communities. If you have videos or anything like that, shoot links to either myself or GA the Gladiauditor. I'm gonna get it down. I'm gonna watch this video again just so I can get it down.
Well done, sir.
But, I'm gonna get it and get on his channel. Shoot us links, because if you know of where you're having issues, maybe one of us is going to come to your town, and maybe we'll actually go there and make sure that we can hold our public officials accountable for the things they do. So I appreciate it. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to get off here, and we'll chat just right after I end the broadcast.
Thanks everybody for being in here. Thanks again, Solo Yacker, for having me here, and we'll see you guys in future content.
Oh yeah, Solo Yacker, deuces.